messing around.
So, hey, New Girl folks, before we get started, we have a big announcement to make. We are no longer doing the loft meetings. For that, I say sorry. However, there is good news. You can take your ears over to our new Patreon, where we will be doing all of our loft meetings. We know you care about them, and we care about you.
You woke up on a side of the bed today, huh?
I didn't sleep, and I had a long day. I had Lily up in the morning. I had to get her ready for school, breakfast, go straight to the gym, come straight back here. I literally watched these episodes at the gym.
And did people at the gym see you watching yourself at the gym?
Well, I started in my car because I got there like 20 minutes early.
You're watching TV in your car? All of this is not great.
Yeah, well, I parked. You won't let you watch TV if you don't park. You have to park the screen.
So you parked the car.
Parked the car. Got to the gym 20 minutes early. Went on Hulu on the car app.
You get to watch New Girl in the car.
Okay. Yeah, I watched it. And then, so that's how dedicated I am.
Okay, this is a big episode. It is the season 3 finale.
That's right.
Oh. Cruise. I remember shooting this episode clearly because it was so insane. What I didn't remember was that Liz Merriweather directed it.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I mean, I didn't remember it. Like when I saw it, I was like, "Oh yeah," well, because Liz was always around. So you know, and she's like the visionary of New Girl, right? She's there. It's her show. It always was that. So it wasn't like Liz, like. And so when I saw that she directed, I was like, "Oh, it was." I don't know. It made it more fun to watch because there was no middleman. It's just Liz with Liz's vision, and man, she just lets the bits run for so long. It is so funny. And by the way, so much dirtier, which is also so Liz and so funny.
Are you calling Liz filthy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wasn't that she had a, that was what her script was she got famous for, that put her on the map before New Girl? Wasn't it called Sluts? And then didn't she do a show called Fuck Buddies?
Yeah, this show was called Chicks and Dicks.
Liz is like sex positive. Yeah, she's an amazing woman.
New Girl was originally called Chicks and Dicks.
That's right, Chicks and Dicks, until somebody at the studio Googled that and, and went, we may have to look at the name. You guys have a solid show. Great cast. Phenomenal writing. The name could cause some issues.
Because you can't have a show called Chicks and Dicks or Chicks with Dicks with no members of the trans community in our show.
Right. It's a bit problematic to call. Well, it was just like, you know how Google does this thing where you clearly write. You're like, whatever, car with 3 wheels. And they go like, Google is showing you car with 4 wheels. And you're like, but I know how to write. And I know the question I wanted to ask. So if you wrote Chicks and Dicks, it should just give you the show. But Google will be like, I know what you really would like to see.
I know what you into.
You're like, no, that's what? So it's kind of Google's fault. Number one search. Anyway, Cruise, man, and Love Rockhay and Rob Rosell wrote it, and incredible guest stars. And I will say out loud that Damon's character Coach went full Winston.
Yeah. He did.
Those would have been your bits. You would have been in that opening demo with Oscar.
With the boat? Oh, my gosh.
Scared of boats? That's so Winston. And they just gave it to Coach. And and of course it was Damon. And he was like, please give me the physical comedy. Goodbye.
But what's crazy is that it's so, not only is it so Winston, but the truth of the matter is the entire energy behind what his character was going through is so Lamorne. Because I'm not scared of boats. I'm not the best swimmer. So you're not going to catch me swimming around in the ocean with all the great whites. And when I mean that, that's a double-sided. That's a double.
You don't trust any of those predators.
The great whites and the sharks and all, being in the ocean is a white people thing. Y'all just be, half of y'all just be in there. Just swimming.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'd be like, man, y'all just in the ocean?
You
know what a shark has never tasted? Dark meat. Sharks never tasted dark meat.
Flavor profile they don't understand.
Do not. No,
it is a really bizarre thing. I've met a bunch of people that actually are really scared of boats. There's some sort of like fear that flares up in their body at the thought of just being like out surrounded by water.
Yeah.
Like super panicky. They just don't like the thing. I don't mind boats, but yeah, I'm not like ocean swimming. Like, what is that?
That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I'm like 6 feet pool swimming. That's
so
it.
You'll get your head underwater then.
No, I'm 6'5". So I'm good. 6'5", ladies.
Okay. With heels on in the pool.
Hey, it's all fair game in the pool.
Do you synchronize swimming, do the handstand? Yeah. What? Are those Manolos? Okay, all right. Give us the rundown.
In the season 3 finale, a totally not together Nick and Jess invite the rest of the gang to join them, dun dun dun, on a cruise. But after the grand romance package gets the best of them, I mean sexually, romantically, and emotionally, Winston, Schmidt, Cece, and Coach agree it's up to them to make things not weird again between the former couple. See you in a second. So, as you stated earlier, episode 323, Cruise, our finale, was directed by Liz Merriweather, written by Love Raquet and Rob Roselle. Let's dive in.
I will say also 323, because a standard full season of TV is 22 episodes, right? Mm-hmm. And in our first season, they gave us an extra 3.
Yeah.
We did 25. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then in season 2, I think we did 24. Mm-hmm. And in this one, we got 1 extra episode added, 23. Okay. But it's why there are so many episodes of New Girl and maybe not as many seasons as people think, is that they really just, they would give us like an extra month of shows.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, that really didn't happen.
Yeah, we were doing pretty well, you know.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it's still on the minds of folks and people still talk about it as if it's a current show lets you know that we were doing really well back then.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the extra episodes, it definitely makes sense for sure.
Yeah, I just remember them. I remember in season 1 when they were like, we got 3 extra episodes, and they were giving like 150%. Everybody was so out of gas. And then it's like, come up with 3 whole episodes. No pressure. And put them in there and make them make sense and get the directors it was just wild. And these first 3 seasons of New Girl, and as it continues on, it's just such great television. It's real credit to the team, because that's wild to just get like a bunch of extra episodes thrown at you.
Oh, 100%.
Without the break. Yeah. I know. The check's cleared.
Yes. Oh, the checks. Shall we talk about the checks, Hannah?
Let's get into the episode. Oh my gosh. So Jess and Nick let the team know that they are all going to go on a non-refundable cruise that they booked when they were drunk and dating and thought that there was no end in sight for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I remember shooting that. I remember sitting in that chair doing that bit, like looking at them like, y'all nasty. You know, I forget the specifics of that moment, but I do remember. And I feel like that was a last minute addition to me being, I forget what it was. I just for some reason remember going, oh yeah, I'll do that bit. And
they're like, why don't we have Winston in there just eating a sandwich?
Yeah. Something
really
like that.
Funny.
So just kind of popped me in there. But it's really funny.
So they had to figure out, because they booked the grand romance package, but they had to downgrade their lover's suite to include everybody else. And so they think they've got 4 more rooms.
Yeah.
They find out when they get on the boat, it's really just, I don't even know how they opened the door. It's just a room of beds.
It's just a room of beds.
Just a room of cots.
You can think it's like a storage room. It's like
where they store the cots. They're like, you can have the room where we store the cots and just be there.
Have you ever been on a cruise?
No.
Yeah, me either.
I don't. It's John Mulaney just did. He does his live with John Mulaney.
Yeah.
And his theme last week was cruises.
Okay.
And everybody that he brought on his panel had never been on a cruise. And then they opened the phone lines to people, and there were people that were like on cruises, and they spoke to somebody who is like a lifer. So there are cruise ships where people live on them full time.
Wait. You mean like...
Did I bore you with the thought of you being on a cruise until your demise? You're like, yawn.
Tired. You mean like crew members?
No. Like you could be like, you know what? I want to go live on a cruise ship.
You can buy like a...
Forever.
You can buy like a... They have residences?
That's right. It's like, you know how some hotels have that? They have like a residence wing and people like live at the hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that, but on a cruise.
But how do you get like mail?
You'll just have to tell people to send it into your next port.
Is there a cruise doctor?
For sure. I'm sure on a cruise ship. Why does everybody get sick on these cruise ships? It's crazy.
Oh, I know why they get sick. Because it's just, they're spreading around their filth. I mean, you're in a cruise ship on the 7 seas.
Do you remember that there was that crazy story a couple years ago where they were off the coast of like California for like months?
And they made them stay on the ship because they were all sick. Was it the COVID story?
Oh, maybe it's the COVID
I think it was COVID.
story. It was something crazy, but they're just like, all right, bye. You cannot come into port. You just live out there now.
Hey, you stay out there, bro. Spray them down with some sunshine and hydrochloroquine.
Just bleach and vitamin D. You'll be fine.
Spray their ass down with some ivermectin. They'd be all right.
Okay, we have to go back to this episode. I, by the way, could talk about cruises for the whole hour because I find them fascinating and also very much not for me. But also it's because I'm like an introvert. The idea of just being stuck on a boat with strangers where you have to make small talk is a living nightmare for me.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't do it. I'm never going on a cruise.
I would maybe go on one for like 1 hour with you just to people watch, and then we would leave before they like left the port. I would do that with you.
We wouldn't be able to people watch, Hannah. Hannah, you're super famous.
We would just be people watched.
Yes. We're just talking and everyone's like gathered around watching. No, they don't care about me like that, Hannah.
They care about, you walking around with that Emmy. They know who you are. They see you coming. I'm walking around with these bangs. That's my problem. I'll shave the bangs. You put down the Emmy and no one will know.
Oh, speaking of bangs, Lily cut her hair the other day because she had bangs.
And?
It just looked bad. She just cut a chunk out.
Do you want me to come over and fix them?
Oh, gosh. No, I took her to get it taken care of. I was like,
okay, we have to go back to the episode because there was a sweet moment that I completely forgot happened where Schmidt goes and gets a class ring for Cece because she's getting her GDE.
GED.
And then a GDE.
Why does it say GDE?
Isn't it GED?
It's GED.
Oh my God.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then is this the beginning of the Winnie shame, I know your name?
First time he's done it.
First time. Does it twice in this episode, and then it becomes like a thing.
Shame. I got my kids saying that because I say it to her all the time.
Shame.
Like this.
I know your name. That was a real thing. What was this? Think about it. What's that?
I don't know.
Stroking of a finger is so weird.
It's creepy. It's
for
creepy.
Shame.
Think about back in the days when people were saying shame to people. They were weirdos back then. They were weirdos. Shame. Yeah, back in those days, they thought women were witches if they knew how to count.
Yeah, you have to wear like letters, just like one letter that we know you're walking down the street.
Yeah, so they do shame. That's where that came from.
It's weird.
The creeps. Anyway, where are we?
Let's jump to the boat. I got to get to the boat.
Yeah.
Let's get to the boat. It was on the Queen Mary.
Yes, the Queen Mary in Long Beach. Yeah.
And they got us hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Even though none of us stayed there. I don't think any of us stayed there overnight.
I think I ended up staying overnight. No, I didn't. No, I just drove back home.
I think we all said, we're going to need hotel rooms. This is crazy. We're not going to drive back at 1 a.m. and then come back for like 5 a.m. the next morning. Like, no. Yeah. And then none of us ended up staying in them. But I do remember I would go to the hotel room and take naps because there were big gaps in shooting because they had so much to get done. And you're in things, you're not in things. The light would change. All sorts of things were happening. So I was grateful for the hotel room.
Did we not have our trailers?
No, there was nowhere to put them.
Yeah.
So we were on the boat or we were in a hotel.
Yeah, I remember after, I think our last day of shooting, I was going to stay in the hotel because I was going to grab drinks with some friends who were going to come to Long Beach. So we're going to have dinner and drinks, and then I was just going to stay in Long Beach for the night. But they bailed because it started raining.
Oh, that's right. It started raining.
So I left.
That's right, which caused a big situation of what they were trying to shoot.
Yeah.
I remember that because I was supposed to go shoot that thing where I was like looking for a signal. And I think a bunch of that got dropped or something. And then they just snuck one in. And then that was the one where Schmidt tries to come out with like the violin player. Let's talk about Oscar playing Doug.
Oh, yeah. It's so funny.
So funny. The Grumpy Gus speech.
Yeah.
And the tickle, tickle, tickle. And then Damon doing just like a one-man show of a man who's scared of boats all by himself.
If you give someone like Damon, just say, go do this to the extreme level. It doesn't matter what it is. Say, hey, Damon, walk across the street, but like a Wayans. He will turn the walk across the street into a 5-minute short film.
For sure.
He's that gifted in just finding comedy in every little aspect. And him just sitting in a boat trying this was so funny. And then Oscar holding him.
Start singing Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace. I'm like, what are we watching here? It's really, really funny. Really,
it's so funny because he sells the fear. When he picks up the second oar and he's like, how do you do it with 2 of these? Is amazing. And then the fact that he stays committed to the fear for the entire episode, that never changes, breaks. I do love that about New Girl. Sometimes they're like, that's just a weird thing about that person. And they don't try to heal it or fix it by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
They're just like, and that's them.
Yep.
And I love that with this bit. I loved it with the Damon bit that they were just like, well, that's just what he's living with. Yeah. Anyway, moving along. So funny.
I love how jealous Jess is of the captain.
I know.
That's funny to me.
Yeah, the instant jealousy of like, she's flirting with you. This is not okay. I'm weird about the whole thing. But looking back, all of these shows now that everybody's applauding these healthy, emotionally healed men and how they're talking in these new TV shows, the way that Nick and Jess actually are communicating in this episode is super healthy.
Well, they shouldn't even be there at the same. Let's just be honest. You break up with somebody, why are you living together? Why are you on a freaking cruise with each other? Like, I think that's unhealthy. So at least you could do is speak to each other in a healthy manner. Sure. Because you're not together anymore.
Sure, you're right. I guess the whole circumstance is highly toxic. Yeah. But their communication skills, I will say, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, for sure. Me, personally, I just don't date. Yeah, let's talk about this friendship package, shall we?
Yeah, so they have the grand romance package, and they're like, no, that's playing with fire. No, thank you. Not going to do it. And the lady's like, well, it's non-refundable. So either you're going to take it or it's gone. And there's $600 worth of activities. Yeah. Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about one of the activities that they end up doing because they didn't turn down $600 worth of activities. And something I noticed the extras doing in the background.
Oh.
That surprised me.
Well, okay. Well, I can't wait. I just can't wait.
You gotta wait.
Let's go to break. And when we go to break, while on that break, I'm gonna blow my nose.
Okay. You feel better?
And yeah, I feel better, Hannah. I feel better not just because I got some nasal clarity, but also because you have something that you would like to that you like to talk about because you've noticed something.
Yeah. Okay. So they do the first activity they do is that yoga, deep stretching yoga, and there's like 4 or 5 other couples behind them. 2 of the couples, because they're face to face, their arms and legs are kind of interlocked, I think, and they're face to face. And granted, most of the time, right, when they choose people from background to go and do these activities in a show, they don't know each other. Usually they're strangers, right?
Yeah.
For the most part. Mm-hmm. Right. Unless sometimes it's like an intimacy thing or something in the back, then they'll let like a couple or something. But usually you don't know the person you're with. I don't think these people knew each other. Anyway, it's a man and woman in each pairing. And in two of the pairings, they're inches from each other's face. And they're both have their tongues fully out and extended.
Whoa.
Towards each other.
I think I remember this, and I think they were actual couples.
Oh, okay. So maybe they're actual couples.
Yeah.
Still, why did the other two couples not do it? And Nick and Jess don't do it. But two couples are there inches from each other's face. Tongue, not like out, like fully out.
Extension of the tongue.
Yeah. I'm familiar. Like wide mouth. It was, and they're so close. And you're like, okay, so that's not an accident. I'm like, was that like Rizzoli talking to background being like, listen, we need to make this feel uncomfortable because guess what? Tick, you did it.
Yeah.
I was watching. I don't think I've ever noticed that before. And I was like, why?
I think I remember this. It's either this episode or a different one or maybe something that was in the bar where a couple was supposed to be making out. And I was like, man, they keep asking them to make out. Like, it's really weird. But they seemed totally game to do it. And then an AD saying, oh, no, they're married.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I see. I was like, right. That would be nuts to think you're showing up for background work. And then next thing you know, you got some dude with his tongue in your mouth. And you're like, all right, anything for the sex.
I think sometimes, that is, when you need to make sure that communication is very clear on what's happening. I did a show once. And in one of the scenes, they were like, okay, Hannah's character, I don't remember what my character's name was, but it was like, is making out with a guy in this nightclub or whatever. And the other lead kind of like clocks it and then it causes something. So they picked this guy and I was like, and we're deep background. And the guy was like, action, the director's like, action. And this man. And I couldn't even get mad because I was like, oh, you just don't know. Shoved his tongue in my mouth and was just like, started really making out. And I went, whoa, whoa. And I was like, no, it's pretend.
Oh,
it's pretend.
Was he background? You say he's background?
Yeah, I could see he didn't know. He was just like, this is my big break. I'm going to become an actor. And so he just like went for it in the moment. And I could just see he was so destroyed. And then I didn't go rat him out because I feel like they would have like fired him. And I was like, it's pretend, bro. Don't know. Please don't ever do that again to me or anyone else. And he was like, oh my God. And then
wow. Was that
sometimes
man Danny,
you don't know.
Was that Danny Trejo?
No, but Danny Trejo just did go for it. I will say that.
Oh yeah,
Danny Trejo. I was like, wow, all right, Danny. Okay.
Hi, Danny.
All right, Danny.
Get it, Danny.
Okay, so they do this yoga where I noticed this thing and I was like, what? Yes. What do you want to say?
Before we get to the yoga, Hannah, I do have to ask you a question.
Yeah.
And this is something that we haven't talked about in a long time.
Oh, no.
This is something that I thought we've expired, but apparently you've requested that we start talking about it again. Now, maybe it's not this episode, maybe it's the other episode, but there's word on the street is that you specifically requested that you and I engage in a little discourse about the bear.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, listen, right? You have openly hijacked my bear segment, right?
How?
Season 1 and season 2, just to laugh at me as I figure out where the bear is with the help of fellow bear hunters. We have a name now.
Oh, bear hunters.
And so I was sick of it. And so for this season, what I did was we dropped the bear segment. And then I just did a full recap for all of season 3, went episode by episode by episode and found the bear. Okay? It is on our podcast channel. Where's the bear? Season 3, 23 episodes. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bang. Okay? But here's what I found. So many of the fans were like, for season 4, maybe bring it back. We miss hearing it every week. We don't want to wait a year to hear all the bear references. And I said, I have a sensitive soul. And I don't know if I can have Lamorne busting my balls in every recording while I show the receipts of the bear.
Hannah, it wasn't. I think you're taking this the wrong way. And you know me. I've never been accused of a ball buster. I've never been accused of being one. And so I do feel slightly offended that you would consider me one, a buster of the balls.
Why do you go presidential? Why does it go that way?
Well, because Hannah, I'm trying to be a man of the people. Okay. I think the people look to me for guidance. I am their leader. And they don't want balls busted all over our podcast. So what I'm going to do, Hannah, is just tell the people the truth. Uh-huh. There is no bear in every episode. That's a myth. Can't find one. Never will find one. Love bears. We got to keep them safe. White bears especially. But
Listen, I swear, can we just cut that clip and send it to Lorne Michaels? And be like, look, this is who should be playing Trump on SNL. You're welcome. Slam dunk. Okay, so they go to do all of these crazy activities. They do the yoga. They do the towel thing. They do the massages where they try to high five each other. The whole thing is strange. Nick's face looks so weird. Then they just start drinking. They run out of rosé. He does something that I'm actually kind of curious about now. How it would taste. He mixes the white wine and the red wine as like a fast rosé solution, which is
never done that.
Never done that. Why would I do that?
That's how you make rosé.
That is not how you make rosé, but it is how you make pink wine. So I'll hear the argument.
Hannah, you don't know. See, I've been to Italy. Okay, I've sipped the juice of the grape.
Oh dear.
Okay, I know exactly how to make rosé because I talked to some of the finest somms out there, and you know what they've all told me? It's just white wine and red wine. That's all. The
fact that you called them somms. Yeah. You've watched the documentary once.
No, I know these people, Somalians. I know them very well. All my friends are Somalians.
If you opened a sommelier school in Somalia.
I should.
You just show up with a bunch of swords.
Oh my God. They'd be like, what?
What are you doing? It's a wine school. It just makes sense. It's a marketing slam dunk. Oh no. What's happening with crews? This is what, I always wonder, like, what happened in the room for 3 days? All of the gang locked together for 3 days in the room. And I think it was this. They came up with ideas like this. That's why they 100%. Could never show what happened in the room.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the sugar man.
In the room where it happened.
Okay, so anyway, they do all this stuff. They do the pink wine. And then, one of the biggest swerves in New Girl history. Because Nick Miller goes in for that kiss. And gets cheeked by Jessica Day.
Yeah.
And then they're like, that was weird and now really awkward and we should just not be together. This cruise is going to do us in. We're going to make mistakes. So they decide to split up. They both think they're on the starboard part of the ship, which is hysterical because nobody knows which is which.
Yep.
And they split up and go to opposite sides. What's also interesting to me is that they talk about, well, who's the only one that can get them back together and being friends? And they say the captain, right? And then they do that announcement and they all run to the room and that whole thing happens. But I don't think that was the original idea. I think through editing, they made it make sense and work. Because I don't know if you remember this, but at the Fox cafeteria, they have a fine dining room. Yeah. Where the Fox store is on the lot. Mm-hmm. And we, after the fact, all came back for a day and shot a dinner scene with the captain. That's what had happened, is that they got invited to the captain's table, which is why I think she thought there was flirting, right? And then we shot this dinner. I have pictures on my phone from the captain's table of all of us sitting there, and that whole thing got cut out of the show, but they still made it work.
Really?
Yeah. We shot a dinner scene at the captain's table off, not on the Queen Mary, but later on the Fox lot.
Huh.
Yeah, I remember because the dress that they put me in was so gorgeous. And I would never made television. And I was like, this is crazy. This was like such a cute look. Are you trying to find out?
I'm trying to find it. I don't think I have photos from that long ago. All my stuff.
Oh, yeah. I have pictures. I took pictures because the dress was cute. I also have to say, man, shout out to Deborah McGuire and her team because Zoe's clothing in this episode, she looked like she was in a Wes Anderson film. She looked so perfectly, beautifully dressed.
Why is Wes Anderson really good with wardrobe?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan for real?
I'm not a Wes Anderson fan.
Whoa.
Just because
Party of one.
Just because I've never been asked to be in one of his movies.
Also, my feelings are hurt too, but I can appreciate the art.
I know. I'm just like, all right, bro, I get it. You don't think I'm talented. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Wait till he sees your Psalm Academy.
Yeah,
then
listen,
what?
Then he's gonna come a knocking. Okay, but I'm gonna be like, sorry, the beds are rocking with my Psalms. Me and a bunch of Somalians.
We can't get through today.
Let's rewind a little bit. I do want to talk about you with this ring.
Oh my God.
And
I didn't get a ring thanks to you.
Well, I know, and I forgot that I had done that, and then I genuinely had this reaction when I was watching it in the car. I went, "The fuck you do that for, Winston?"
Winnie just slammed like a child. That only children move that fast.
Yes, I was like,
up to another person,
and then just didn't even like realize.
Nothing.
What he did, just try to beat him up afterwards.
I love when Max does that. When he's so mad, so he takes a beat before the fight, and then he rears back and launches on you. It's so funny when he does it. It's his like fighting technique, so you see it coming.
Yeah, but he's even though we're play fighting, he's oddly strong.
He's very strong.
He's a very strong man.
He's a strong man. Yeah, there's only so much acting that can happen when you're throwing a body on another body.
I know. Like, slow down, Max. Slow down. You ain't Somali, and I ain't trying to have that.
Okay, so then they hear this. They come up with a plan, right? Mm-hmm. This plan that happens to make Nick and Jess not weird.
Yeah.
And it's the honesty. And I remember shooting this because I remember the package of alts of the absolutely insane confessions that you and Damon had to say. I was spared, Max was spared, but they gave you two some of the wildest ones. And and I think that probably the weirdest ones are the two that made it, because hearing Damon talk about how he feels he'll never experience the infinite joy of being with child laid me out.
I wonder if I can't. You know what's so crazy about my email? I can't find any of the old scripts. The only time I see them, I can find them in there is when you give them to me.
Oh,
I genuinely can't find them. I'm like, I don't know what happened. It's the same email I've been using forever.
Did you like one night just get like mad at the world and just be like, delete all? And then just have a clean slate in your emails? Did you like do that one time?
There is a possibility I did that because I had my beefs with 20th, from time to time. You know what I mean?
So maybe you cleared them all out and you're just like, I don't want this sitting around anymore. I have everything. I'm a woman. I have all the receipts from when I was like 6 months old. I was like, no, you were at the Olive Garden. Okay.
Oh God, I don't know how you stay married with all those receipts.
I'm the receipt queen.
I have it here in print.
It's all here.
Like,
I know everything.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so where are we?
Are we going to talk about Winston's confession?
Winston's confession. Don't tell me. I know this. Don't tell me. I know this confession. I just saw it. Winston confesses that he can't count to the number 6. Which one was it again?
He has nightmares.
Oh, about making out with the other two guys.
Which is Nick.
And himself. Oh, gosh. That's funny.
I thought that when they said, Winston, that's Nick and you, that he would go like, oh, yeah, no, I meant. And then he was just like, you were like, yeah.
Listen, the more weird, the better. The more weird,
That's right.
the better.
That's what I'm saying. This episode, this finale, Liz was just like, let them be weird. And that's really like the crux of the whole thing, which is how Nick and Jess at the end kind of come to terms, which is just like, it's weird. Mm-hmm. Let's just embrace the weirdness as opposed to trying to pretend that it's not weird. Mm. And I feel like then they gave everybody their own weird moment.
Yeah, you got to make them feel comfortable. You know what I mean? And and it worked. It definitely worked. But the issue when they're in this room is that they can't get out.
They can't get out, and Coach threw out the landline. The phone. Because he thought it was going to get more intense, and they wouldn't want to have a phone just laying around for someone to grab.
Yeah, and then 3 days later. So if you could...
3 days later.
Oscar
seemed to just like pop the door open pretty easily. Seems like they could have done it maybe on day one.
Yeah, he just kind of put his shoulder into it a little bit. I think Damon being, what does he call himself in the next episode? A sexy black man with the body of a god or something like that?
Action hero.
Right, like, you mean to tell me you couldn't pull the door open, bro?
Yeah, I don't know. It was very strange. It was probably something that bugged me because I kind of watch for things like this when I watch other TV shows, so I'm not going to spare the show. And it was me doing it, which really does piss me off, is that when everybody gets shoved into the cabin, into the room, when we run out and kind of attack them, I'm holding the do not disturb sign. And then we get everybody and rush them in the room, and the door closes, and I still am holding it as I rush in. And then it opens with me saying, okay, the door is locked. The do not disturb sign is on the outside, which is why nobody comes and checks on us. But I didn't put the do not disturb sign on, at least in that take that they used.
Oh.
Which is, a little problematic.
Sketchy.
Little problematic.
Bad
I don't know if anybody else caught it, but it bugged me.
Starbucks cup in the old Game of Thrones?
That's right. That's my Starbucks cup.
Huh. Hannah.
Which is going to be when we start season 4, winter is coming. There's some coming. Game of Thrones references just all over the place. This one was mine.
That's funny. At that point, I hadn't seen Game of Thrones yet, so I wasn't really getting the references.
I wasn't watching either.
Yeah, I didn't watch Game of Thrones until our show ended.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't think.
I might be the only person out there that didn't watch it. I'm alone.
But did we shoot this on stage, or that was an actual room?
I feel like we shot that in the actual room, and I remember it seems so so quick, right? Because you just walk in, you see us all standing there, and it's done. But I feel like it took us almost half a day. Right? The wardrobe had to be specific. We all had to look insane. They were doing last minute things like writing things on faces. And then they had to position all of us in a way where you could see us all. And it looked weird. And the room, they had to do so many things so that one shot, it's not like you see what happens in the room that they got weird or destroyed. Nothing. It just is like, bam, a reveal. That one shot I feel like took probably a whole morning to do. Just because there was so much choreography and where they needed to place us. And then that became the picture that ends up at the end of the episode. But that also became a pretty iconic picture that I think that was used in the press to promote the season 3 finale of how weird it gets.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right? 100%.
So there was a photographer there that day that also had to get pictures. It was a whole thing that day. So that's why, shooting this episode took forever.
I think the room smelled like pee. I could be wrong.
It smelled like ghosts' pee.
So, fun fact for the folks out there who don't know this about the Queen Mary, it is indeed haunted. Mm-hmm. And I think some of the crew members stayed on the boat because you could stay there.
Could. That was what they said. Oh my gosh, I just remembered. Aaron O'Malley said there will be no trailers, but if you guys need to stay overnight, we can get you rooms on the Queen Mary. And the entire cast went, no, thank you.
Give me a real hotel.
That's a pass. We will not stay on the haunted ghost ship.
No, absolutely.
But somebody did. Not in the cast.
No, it was a crew member. I remember a few crew members stayed on and I think they say there was one particular level where it's haunted.
Right.
And they weren't staying on that floor.
Yeah, it's creepy.
I love a haunted hotel. Although I don't think I've never experienced anything. I've never experienced a haunt. But when everybody's saying that that's what's happening on a boat, that's a double reason for me not to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an old boat, so you might have a lot of, let's just say, ill-intentioned ghosts.
Sure.
Depending on the year they died.
Think about all the places you could live as a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you be there?
I'd live courtside at a basketball game.
Well, that's just you now.
Yeah. But that's kind of my happy place.
I know. That's you right now. Every time I see a picture of you, you're there. Yeah, you were at a game recently and someone was like, these are the greatest seats. And you're like, well, not really. We're in the second row. And you look so bummed. And I was like, oh, that's a real feeling. He's having a real feeling about it. These are not the best seats.
Well, it's just that I'm so upset. Like, my seats are one row right behind Kenya Barris, right? And Kenya is so cool all the time with his jewelry on, and he's so busy. He's watching the games, kinda, but I'm like, Kenya, just like switch seats with me, bro. Like, I get it. You're richer than me.
Sure.
Like, I'm just, I'm a working class man, and Kenya is richer than God. I mean, the guy creates so much stuff.
Yeah.
Give up the seats. You don't even have time to be here right now.
You're the charity case right now.
He hasn't even finished counting his money.
Go home and finish counting your money.
Yeah, like, let me get those seats, bruh. You
don't need all that money and the best seats in the house.
Oh, gosh. If I had that money, I'd sit way in the back. You know what I mean?
I'll hold you to it.
I don't need to see LeBron up close.
The button on this episode is so funny. They're back in the loft and staring at the picture. And it's been established in this episode that Schmidt is fully in love with Cece again. And that's where the whole shame thing happened. He wants to go after her. And she's in a relationship with Buster still. Highly problematic relationship with Buster.
Robbing the cradle.
And, but we get to see a little cliffhanger for next season. Because when they reveal the shot of the photo, Cece's definitely making eyes at Schmidt.
That's right.
Nice. And I always love cliffhangers at the end of like a season. I love how they do it, right? So there's that. They've just planted that seed. And they also have Nick and Schmidt getting bunk beds like they were in college living together in the same room again. Which is also so fun to look forward to. It was a great, weird, insane, exhausting, funny, strange finale that they made sense of, even though, like I said, full scenes with the captain are just gone.
That are gone.
But they did in the photo shoot, the grand romance photo shoot lasted I think 90 seconds. They were they just let the weirdness breathe and the bits breathe, and Liz directed the hell out of the episode, and it was a fun one, man.
My favorite part about this episode is watching our wardrobe, our on-set wardrobe person, Joey Perla, dress up every day in a different sailor outfit.
He did.
Every day we came in, he had a complete, and he would do wardrobe changes throughout the day.
Yeah.
So the first half of the day,
he loved boat life.
Yeah, he had the shoes, he had the tiny shorts.
Yeah.
With his little ascot and his hat.
Yeah.
He always looked like a little sailor boy every single
That was the goal. He crushed it.
Shout
out Joey Perla. We love
Joey
you.
Perla's always on theme.
Yeah.
I miss him.
Yeah, he's the best.
Hey, let's go to a quick break, and when we come back, there is something that I do need to speak to you about. Hannah, remember when right before we went to break, I said there'd be something that I wanted to speak to you about?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
Is it the sommeliers in Somalia again?
No.
Oh.
No. Ever been trapped in a room or accidentally locked yourself in somewhere?
Is this the mess around?
Yeah, we're messing around.
All right, let's mess around. Have I ever been trapped in a room or accidentally locked yourself in somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
No, but I've been locked out.
Your car?
No. I just told this story. I found out that there is a writer, wonderful writer. She's writing a New Girl book.
Oh yeah. I just sat down with her.
Yeah. So lovely. And so I just told her this story about when I found out that I got New Girl. Mm-hmm. I thought for sure, like, I was the least experienced, like the shortest resume actress up for that role, that I was not probably going to get it. And the day that I was supposed to find out, I was just like staring at my phone all morning, and I was like, I don't want this life. This is like a cliche. No, thank you. Mm-hmm. And so I left my phone at my friend's apartment and decided to go for like a walk, and it was one of my happiest days because everyone's like, don't you want to know? Don't you want to know? And I was like, well, no, because 99% chance I'm not going to get it. I don't have the experience. And right now it's possible. And no, I like the feeling that it's possible. And so I was like living in the dream, and it was like this really great magical day. It's so clear in my memory of every single thing I did that day. And then came back. West
Hollywood?
No, Marina Del Rey, actually. Oh. This is perfect. This is perfect for this episode. It was down by the beach. And then came back to the apartment at 9:00 at night. It was a full day out. And was locked out of the apartment and didn't have my phone. Oh. And so my friend went and jumped on the roof of the apartment, jumped down to the balcony, broke his ankle, still couldn't get into the apartment, but someone heard him screaming for help. So they like helped him, and then they called the locksmith. And meanwhile, I had no idea this was happening. I was waiting in the hallway inside. I was like so happy. I was like in no rush to get in. Then the locksmith comes, does the thing, charges $9,000. You get inside the apartment. Well, you know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy. They go like, tuk, tuk, and they're just like, could we have $1 billion? And you're like, okay, I guess. And so then I go in the apartment, and then I went to take a shower, didn't even check my phone, and then picked up my phone eventually at like 10:30 at night. And it was like 57 missed calls,
Holy
46 shit. Text messages. There were Facebook chat messages. Like, they were just like, this woman... Every other actress on planet Earth would have their phone. Is she alive? Has she unalived herself? It was the craziest thing. And so I remember that time when I got locked out of an apartment, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. And it was still the best day ever. And it ended being the best day.
The best day ever. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been locked inside somewhere.
Locked inside is different. That would creep me out.
Yeah, but I have been locked out numerous times. I remember one time leaving, so my buddy Peter, shout out to Peter Marchiafava, who just got married. Peter and Sharon, love you. But Peter came in town to visit while we were filming New Girl. And he wanted to go do some sightseeing, visit some folks, so I let him borrow my car. I said, drive me to set. And that morning he drove me to set, and he took the car. And I said, I should wrap around 8 p.m., so if you can get there a little bit earlier than that, and you just wait for me right outside the gate, I'll just walk right on over. Well, I call him. He's not answering. It's around like 6:30. I'm like, you can head over now. I think I might be wrapping soon. No response. 7-something comes along. No response. Now I'm just waiting. Now I genuinely have no way home. I'm like, what the hell? And this is before Uber.
Sure.
So it's not like, So now I'm just like, wait, what the hell's going on? Like, where is he? I think everyone had already left. Like the cast. Like somebody would drop me off, I'm sure. And I'm like...
I was about to say, I would have taken you home.
So I ended up having to call a different friend to drive to pick me up. We drove all the way back to my apartment. Get to the apartment. My apartment door is locked. Remember, he has my keys. So now I can't get into my apartment. And we're banging on the door. I am now... Like, it went from like a gentle knock to like, hey... Open the door. I live in an apartment. Yeah. It went from that to me trying to kick the fucking door.
Kick your own door in.
Yeah. And then finally he gets up and he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, what's going on?
What's going on?
I let you borrow my car. You ditched me at work. I had to get another ride home. And then you're in here knocked out with the door locked so I can't get into my own place. What do you mean what's going on? Yeah, I was pretty peed off.
He found a woman to marry
him?
him?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah! Everybody, go to my IG page. I posted something about the wedding. Go ahead and give Peter a hard time about it, please.
Oh my gosh! Wait, he just got sleepy. He drove around all day and was just like, "I'm taking a nap."
Yeah, just totally.
What a life!
It must be nice. It must be nice to drive someone's Rolls Royce around.
You probably were driving a super nice car, actually.
No, I don't remember.
Overall thoughts on season 3.
Well, I loved season 3 because season 3 was a big jump in my acting growth. I learned how to do a lot throughout the course of this season, and most importantly, I just became comfortable and got rid of the fear of being replaced or fired. Business could be really tricky and kind of cutthroat, so I just got over that fear and just started gunning it and started performing. And I think that all started in on a bigger scale, season 3. Yeah, I mean, it's a season that Damon joined us, which somehow unlocked a lot of stuff for everybody. Yeah, because you saw him on the dinghy, like, it's Damon. So all of a sudden you're like, oh, I guess I can do that bit. Yeah, that's you don't care. Fine. That's safe in this moment with this person. I agree. I think the only thing about season 3 that bumped me, because it's a great season and really good on the relationships, like really interesting and heartbreaking and all the good stuff that they always do on New Girl. But like season 3 really did some awesome work that way too. Was the CC dating Buster. I swear it's the one thing that I'm just like, there has to be one crazy thing. And that was the one crazy thing. And thankfully, season 3 is the end of it. But it wasn't like you saw him a lot. It wasn't like we saw him a lot. Yeah, no, you see him twice. He then shows up at the apartment. Yeah, at the fire. Yeah. So it wasn't like it was like every episode you have to continuously make out with this underage boy. That's right. They just alluded to it that you're still dating this child, which might be a crime in certain states. Which was also necessary. Which was also necessary because Schmidt needed to earn Cece back after the whackness of season 2. Yeah. So they had to do something. I just didn't know why he had to be like 12. You guys, season 3. Ups and downs, the roller coaster of life. The 3rd season of New Girl wrapped all the way up. If you are wondering where the bears are, because they're there. You can listen to the Where's the Bear episode that I released. I dressed like a spy for it. Okay. Did you really? I did. And bear hunted. Now you gotta go watch it. And then maybe in season 4, you might beg for the segment back and I will let you in. You talking about me? There's no way I'm begging. I tell you now, I'm not gonna beg for that. Fine, it's better this way. All right, you guys, be sure to follow us on IG at The Mess Around Pod. You can email us any of your questions, queries, concerns, any weird things you see, like do not disturb signs not being hung, at themessaroundpod@gmail.com. You can rock this cute merch I'm wearing. I'm the worst model because I've got long hair. Yeah, you always cover it. I can't help it. I got long hair. You put your hair in a ponytail, weirdo. Would you know how crazy that looks? If I had my hair in a ponytail, I would just be bangs and headphones, and I would just look. There's no hair then. I'd have to do the whole podcast like this on the side. Why? So just so people could make sure that you still have hair? Yeah, it just looks weird visually. We're a visual medium now. It's not why I started podcasts, but here we are. Oh, Hannah. Bye, you guys. Just end with a fight. That was The Mess Around, an iHeartMedia production. Our executive producer is Joelle Monique. Our senior producer is Abu Zafar. Bei Wang provided engineering and editing services. Additional production from Daniel Goodman, Wendy Heisler, and Kyle Chevron. Our theme song was written and composed by Ronald Jukebox Jackson. Catch you next time. Bye.